The biggest thing that happened to me, which was a cause for me to start Sanctus and to dream it up, was me having panic attacks, I suppose. Since shutting down my first business, I'd started to feel underlying anxiety.
When you put so much of yourself into something, when it doesn't work, the crash is pretty extreme.
I ran away from that for a while, ran off travelling, drank loads and went out on the weekends so I could numb it and not feel it, but ultimately it was still there, especially sort of Monday to Friday. And I had one panic attack going down onto the underground, and I suppose that was a moment to remember, because that was just my body kind of screaming at me. Like, I couldn't ignore my mental health at that point.
To be fair, it's amazing really. He'd always written his blog, and I think he just felt like, I need to get this out of me, I need to write it.
And then I kind of finally came out in this public blog post called Mental Health and Startups.
I remember reading it and I was like, mate, I've never read anything like that before, especially from you.
Well, when I posted the blog post, the reception was insane.
We had thousands of people basically reading it and getting in touch saying, I feel the same way, I've been through something similar.
And I felt something that I'd never felt before. I felt exhilarated, I was buzzing. I felt like I'd kind of expressed myself and expressed and been vulnerable, really, arguably for one of the first times in that way. It just felt like it was this ball that was just rolling.
I remember saying, mate, I really want to believe in it, I really want to buy into a brand of some sort. It was called Mental Health in Startups blog. I need a brand to like feel and be passionate about and to buy into.
Like, this world started to form in my head. Like, we work on our mental health that way, where people are more self-aware, a bit more open, a bit more honest with each other, vulnerabilities like more normal.
James, to be fair, came back and he was like, mate, I've got the name Is Sanctus, and he talked me through it, and I think that's when I felt this is a real thing.
I was thinking about fitness and physical health and thinking, oh, like, how cool would it be to have a mental health version of that? I needed a practitioner, a facilitator, a coach or a therapist, someone that actually knew what they were doing, because I couldn't do it. I'd spoken to about 10, 12 people, and just no one, I just didn't click with anyone. They were going to tell me this like 5 steps to success that was going to change my life, and just none of it worked for me. None of those styles felt right. And then I met Cheyenne. Yeah, and he did this little exercise with me in the coffee shop, where he was like, focus your attention on that glass of water, what do you notice? Kind of, I suppose now looking back, like quite basic awareness practice of like, be aware of all your surroundings and kind of bringing me into the here and now, into the present moment. And I was blown away. It was pretty incredible. I felt like the whole room stopped and I was just hearing things. It's kind of like I'd unlocked this sense that I'd not had.
So at that point we had a few things going on. We were running group sessions where anybody can book in. It was almost like a gym class.
When businesses started to reach out to us and ask if we could support their employees, or we could come into their offices, or they could send their employees to us as a space for them to work on their mental health.
Obviously, because Sanctus was born out of a blog post, James kept sharing more stories, producing different types of content.
Right, episode 5. Yeah, feels like a dream at the moment.
Content
End of the week.
and sharing the story, telling the story, offline at events, online through social.
Which is something James is good at, but also we knew it could be done better. And it was the same with me with the operation. I was quite good at it, but I knew it could be done better.
By the time I'd arrived, the actual idea of Sanctus Coaching, it being 8 sessions during the workday, one-to-one with a coach who came back at regular intervals, that was already established.
Our contract is with an individual, even though it is held within the container of a business. And it's so cool and really gives me hope for the world to see. Decide that they think it's important for people to work on their mental health, but that they don't need to know what's going on there. We're not selling Sanctus Coaching by saying this is going to make people more productive. We're just saying this is kind of the right thing to do to help people be better people in the world.
Really, Sanctus grew just by the number of partners that we were working with. And naturally from there, our kind of operation as a business scaled up. The amount of coaches that we had really grew as well.
When I first joined, I think I was the 6th Sanctus coach, maybe the 5th, some early small number. And now we've got 31 coaches, which is just incredible. So I think the way that Sanctus works on this more overarching part of its mission, one way I think Sanctus does that is just by being cool. We often think of the NHS or kind of fusty charities that like don't really resonate with younger people. You know, it can feel like mental health only applies if it's a problem. And actually, like I think part of what Sanctus is doing in Change of Perceptions is being a different vision of a company that is talking about mental health.
So today we have a team of Sanctus coaches that go into a range of different businesses to create a sanctuary, a Sanctus space in the office where employees, individuals can book in for a Sanctus session at work. People have almost called it like a personal trainer for your mental health and fitness in the office.
We also do it virtually, so people can access Sanctus Coaching on Zoom when they're at home or working remotely or when they're travelling. We have a podcast, and we do lots of media and content where we talk about mental health. We have our own opinion on mental health.
We talk a lot about everything from how clubbing affects your mental health to how online dating might, kind of thinking about all the different aspects of life and how that interacts with your mental health.
We're trying to build a community, like a real brand and group or community of people that are passionate and believe in mental health.
Sell and create our own merchandise, which is a way for people to attach themselves to the Sanctus movement and the Sanctus brands.
We ran events, so everything from comedy nights to run clubs.
What feels to me really exciting about thinking about mental health as sort of analogous to physical health is there are so many ways we work on our physical health. You know, there's just having information available so we know things and then we do it ourselves. And what feels really exciting for me with Sanctus is that whole range, that whole gamut exists for mental health too.
The vision for us is to continue to make Sanctus Coaching more accessible to people.
We want as many people in the country or in the world working on their mental health.
Doing everything we can, layer upon layer upon layer upon layer, to create the safest space for an individual to explore themselves and talk about whatever they need to with a Sanctus coach.
Give people the opportunity to have a place to work on their mental health. Give them the very thing that, like, I certainly know I wish I had when I was at my lowest. And even when I was at my okayest.
Inspire people to work on their mental health like their physical health. Maybe one day put the world's first mental health gym on the high street.
This isn't just, you know, a thing that flashy London startups do. We want Sanctus to be a company that can last for 100 years. We're in this mission for the long haul. We don't want to go anywhere anytime soon, and I don't think we will.